Good evening. My name is Yuli, or Yuliana, whatever you prefer. I'm excited and a little nervous, but mostly inspired to be here with you all. I was really nervous, and last night I had a thought that most of you guys have been here for my journey already. And for anyone who came to last year's event, maybe remember me in Harmony. And so I'm just going to, I'm sharing my full story for the first time. And I feel like I'm doing it with family and people who care about me. You guys are a very important part of my journey. So let me begin. I believe we all have a story and a season in our lives that are meant to break us. These moments are crucial for our growth. They lead us to our true purpose. I believe my purpose today is to share with you my story. My childhood was one of the hardest periods in my life. My mother suffered from severe mental illness, and from a young age, she made me believe I was very ill. So I spent most of my years as a child going from doctor to doctor and was put on many medications. She enjoyed all the attention she received from having a sick child, and she put me on disability, and as my payee, spent every check. I began to struggle with crippling anxiety, constant panic attacks, and had multiple suicide attempts. Looking back, I believe my body was just reacting to its surroundings. After all, I was living in a constant state of fight or flight. No matter how hard I studied her, I couldn't predict when her next outburst would be or what would trigger it. I was kept confined to my small room with little or no food at times. So I learned to survive by shutting down completely and dissociating from my body. I never spoke. Most of the time, not even when I was spoken to. Which is why standing before you today is so special and nothing short of a miracle. It is my moment to get my voice back. My father was an alcoholic, but he was also a very hardworking man and my biggest ally. He made sure my mother fed me when he was around and stood up for me in front of my mom. I was always looking for someone to save me, which is why when I fell in love with this boy I met in high school, I gave him my whole heart. I always looked for a way out, and we ran away together. We didn't make it very far, but soon after that, my beautiful daughter Harmony was born. She was just that, a piece of harmony in my life that I never knew was possible. From the moment she came into the world, I started to dream bigger. I wanted so badly to give her the whole world, but the years dragged on, with my mother only behaving worse. My only source of comfort was spending time with Harmony. We shared my tiny room and spent our time making up stories together. I taught her to read and encouraged her love for makeup. Things drastically changed in 2021 when my father had a stroke that left his body paralyzed. My only protector was now being abused too. One night, while getting him ready for bed, I leaned in quietly and whispered, low enough to where my mother wouldn't be able to hear us. I told him, Dad, I keep hearing a small voice inside me tell me that it's time to take a leap of faith. The voice was getting so loud I could no longer ignore it. I told him I was moving out. Within a month, I figured how to switch the disability payments into my name, saved up for 2 plane tickets, and moved to California. I was originally in Florida. I rented a small room for us to live in, and the joy I felt from being free was like no other. Sadly, it would be short-lived. And in my search for acceptance and love, I allowed a new person into my life. A man I thought for sure would be the one to save me. At first, things were okay, but slowly his mental health took a turn for the worse, and the relationship turned abusive. It may sound odd, but it took everything in me to walk away. But I knew I had to. So I packed everything, and we moved once again. From motel to motel, until I received the call that we had a spot at the VOA family shelter. We moved in during a storm, and the weather seemed to match my life at that moment. I couldn't understand how I got myself in this situation. I kept replaying my mother's words of how I wouldn't be able to make it without her. At first, the shelter felt so big and overwhelming. There were kids playing together at a table, and that made me feel better. We were given dinner, we showered, and the staff even helped me make the bed. The next morning, we were greeted by Mama Anna, the program coordinator. I instantly felt some hope again. She immediately calmed down my fears and let me know that it was not a matter of if I would be housed, but when. The hard work would have to come from me. After a week of back-to-back panic attacks, I made a conscious decision that I would have to save myself. No one was going to come and rescue me, and it was up to me to get Harmony and I out of the situation. And so I hit the ground running. The shelter and the VOA staff changed me in many ways that I never knew I needed. While there, I made my first resume and went to my first job interview. I started therapy for myself and for Harmony. I finished a course on domestic violence. I joined the VOA parenting classes. I started building my credit and joined financial classes. I enrolled and graduated from a women's empowerment program. I went back to school to finish my high school diploma and even got my permit. I finally had all the support I needed, and I was so proud at how far I had come. The staff became my family, with Mama Anna always rooting for me. It encouraged me slowly to come out of my shell, and for the first time I was making friends. I listened in awe to many stories from all the brave women I was surrounded by. Some of them are here tonight. My self-esteem grew, and I was enjoying all the little things in life. VOA took us to plays, the zoo, Disney on Ice, and the Kings game, which was all my first times at all of this. They even celebrated our birthdays and every holiday in between. I appreciated every detail they put into making us feel like we were not missing out on a normal life. During my time at the shelter, I learned to live for the very first time. I laughed, I cried, I stumbled, and I even fell at times. I got angry, and I questioned God, but I was healing, and I was finally coming home to myself. I no longer needed anyone but me to make myself happy. I never stopped listening to that small voice inside me, guiding me. I put literal sweat, blood, and tears into this journey. And in October of 2023, Harmony and I moved into our first apartment. I can't put into words the feeling I felt seeing tears of joy coming from Harmony when I gave her the news. We both finally exhaled a breath of relief. I've been living in my home now for 7 months, and I have been grateful for each day. I'm still in school, and I just got my first job as a caregiver. Because of my experience, I find pleasure in helping those who can't physically help themselves. I am currently saving up to purchase my first car, and I have taught myself how to cook. I sing, not good, but still loudly. I paint, I draw, I create art with the peace I feel from being in my own home. Harmony and I live each day grateful for this life. I have discovered my power, and I use my voice again, even if it shakes. Thank you all for being a part of my journey. Even if you're just now meeting me, your support of VOA and your presence here tonight, it changes lives. I know this because it changed mine. I would like to leave you with one of my favorite verses. Romans 8:18. The pain you're feeling can't compare to the joy that's coming. We all have a purpose and deserve to be loved and cared for. Thank you. Thank you. I couldn't have made it here without you guys. Thank you.